Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final episode of the National Training Arc. In this episode, it is the big one. This is the episode that you will see me, Alex, and Andrew, and a couple of our other friends go to Nationals and hopefully fuck shit up with the decks we've chosen. However, there's a couple of things that obviously I'm going to go over before I do anything else. To a lot of people, you've probably seen like how to go to big events and all that stuff, and obviously it has changed since as many videos that have been made on it, should I say. But I'm going to go over specifically what I take to a big event, as well as my deck list that I'm going to be taking for this event. Obviously, this doesn't currently include the last minute changes I might make because I'm actually recording this before I actually go. Let me quickly show you what I would take to an event like this. And for the final time, everyone, this is going to be my deck profile for this Nationals. And as you can tell, I took the Crystron Chains version. I personally think that this deck had a lot of untapped potential, and I spoke to a lot of people about the deck who have been kind of cooking with it, and honestly, I've been liking it a lot, and honestly, I think it is the best version. It's definitely the strongest version and the one that's got the least amount of susceptibility to hand traps. So for one final time in the series, let's go over what I decided to play, starting with our main deck. So we are on 3 copies of Scrap Recycler, which this card on its own is always very, very scary because Scrap Recycler is known in many different decks to just do fucking everything. A lot of people played it in Orcust, a lot of people played in Ancient Gear, and a lot of other machine decks that just have ways to bridge into other engines. Then, obviously, in a very similar manner, we have the 3 Blue Travel, which obviously you can send off of the Scrap Recycler and do some funny stuff from there. 1 copy of Convex Knight, 1 copy of Spell Canceller, 1 copy of Ethereal King Regulars, which is going to be replaced with a Starlight come Nationals, which I'm so excited, and a new edition, which I originally didn't like all that much in this deck, but I can see why people have been playing it, and I've been pilled on it. That is 1 copy of Super Express Bullet Train. This is one of the few cards that actually makes Gustav Rocket better than Dora in most, if not all instances, due to the fact that like you could detach it and add back anything you need for the crackback. Then obviously for the final Earth Machine, we are on 1 copy of Heavy Knight Babbledecker. For the Earth Machine spells, we're on 3 copies of Exceptional Schedule, as we have been for the last however long, 2 copies of Urgent Schedule, and 1 copy of Revolving Switchyard. This sort of stuff is not going to change very much. Then for the Chrystrons, we are on 2 copies of Solfefnir, 2 copies of Sulflor. I've gone down to 2 and 2 on these as I have learned the deck a lot better. 1 copy of Tristros and 1 copy of the newly added Citri. A lot of people were playing Citri already and I wasn't, and I didn't understand why we even played it. But I now understand, and I will explain to you why when we get to the extra deck. And obviously the final monster is a copy of Smygar. Then for the spells and traps, we're on obviously the 3 copies of Inclusion and the 1 copy of Cluster. For the non-engine, we are on 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I need to bring that up because you can't see that at all. 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 copies of Morchami Foolos, 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird, 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, and for the final 2 spells, we're on 1 copy of Called by the Grave and 1 copy of Foolish Burial. And for the extra deck and the side deck, I'm going to do the same as I did last time. For the Synchro Monsters, because there is actually now quite a big handful in comparison, we're on 2 copies of Crystron Elascalatus, 1 copy of Crystron Quarrying Gandrax. This is the reason I'm now playing the Citri. I now know the combo that actually makes Quarrying Gandrax with Tristros, Citri, and a level 5. It is something that I didn't really know how would actually work in the deck, and there have been a couple of times where I have been actually able to make it, and it's been really, really good. 1 copy of FA Dawn Dragster, and the only proxy in this deck currently, and the reason there is a proxy is because I'm borrowing the card off of a friend because I don't have a copy, and that is a copy of Centurion Legatia. So Legatia has a couple of niche sort of applicabilities where you can essentially make it with a Tristros plus a level 10 to protect your spell counselor. You can make it in your opponent's turn if you happen to have a 10 and a Tristros or a Citri on the board for what have you. Well, you can't make it with the Citri, but with the Tristros you can make it. You also have a way to obviously protect your spell canceller if you're happening to play under Fua. Then for the Xyz monsters, we're on 1 copy of Riverstorm, 1 Flying Launcher, 1 Dora, 1 Gustav, 1 Rocket to go with it, 1 copy of Lieb, and 1 copy of Zeus. Obviously, so In this version, I've come to find that I actually like making Gustav Rocket a lot more than I like making Dora, because obviously I'm not playing the Derek Crane anymore. Then for the Link Monster one, 1 copy of Clockwork Knight, 1 copy of Clifford Genius, and 1 copy of Double-Headed Angler Knuckle, as we have been. And for the final side deck of the series, we're on 3 copies of Mulchami Perulia. This card has always been really, really good, especially at the moment where a lot of decks are summoning from the hand quite a lot. Then onto some of the more niche cards that I've been wanting to try, that I've been liking quite a lot. We're on 1 copy of Magical Hound. So Magical Hound, I did mention back all the way in either episode 1 or episodes 2 as a way to out searchable floodgates, or continuous floodgates, should I say, a searchable way to out them. In this specific instance, Magical Hound is here for exclusively Doomsday Destruction, which is always a way to, you can out it because obviously it becomes a continuous, like, applying effect that you can bounce it back to your opponent's hand with the copy of Hound. Obviously, you have to make sure you either get it in the grave or get it in your hand, what have you. It's not hard, you can play it off of Urgent Schedule, which is always really, really nice. 1 copy of Jizuku, the Star Destroying Kaiju. I think that the Machine Kaiju has always been a very, very good choice for us, in the sense of we can always do something with it. If there's an idiot we can't out, Kaiju it. If there's a towers that we can't beat over, for heaven fucking forbid, on a 6k idiot, Kaiju it. We just have ways to out it. Then for the final monster, we're on 1 copy of the Machina Citadel. So obviously, Citadel I was main decking for a while, but I've come to the conclusion that I think it's only really good going second, and I don't think I mind that one bit. Then for the spells, there is actually a lot more of them this time around. We're on 3 copies of Darkcrawler No More, and 2 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust, as well as the 2 Lightning Storm, the Duster, and the final card of our side deck being a Different Dimension Ground. So I decided with this version that I wanted to play heavier into the going second version of the deck, because this deck is really good going first. Shock and or Horror, a deck that can make 2 Omni Negates, a double pop, a banish, a spell trap negate, and so much more is really good going first. Who would have thought? However, this deck does seem to have a problem with going second, despite what Earth Machine players would have you believe, obviously on the pure version. So I wanted to try and jam-pack my side deck with a lot of different ways to just kind of make sure my opponent cannot play the game in any way, shape or form. Perulia prevents them from drawing. Magical Hound outs continuous floodgates. The Kaiju, obviously I've explained. Machina Citadel is a revival on legs with a Rogeki, well, a Rogeki that on legs that can revive itself. Darkcrawler is really good against every deck at the moment that can't find a way to negate it through a chain block. I think the only one that I can think of that does this off the top of my head would be Elf Notes. 2 Thrust, obviously, to search the associated targets, and the Darkcrawler as well, if we happen to bait an opponent's interaction very, very early on in the turn. Obviously, Lightning Storm is really good into most of the decks at the moment because they're all somewhat heavy back row. Duster is the same, and a Different Dimension Ground is exclusively for going first against decks that require their graveyards a lot. So Killer Tune, Elf Notes, Doomsday, I believe, kind of need it for some things, but I'm unsure. I believe they probably need it less because obviously they can side deck Dimensional Fissure. To start this little, I don't know what you would call it, checklist? List? Me telling you what I take to an event? I don't know what you'd fucking call it. However, I'm going to go over some of the things I take to events that I will never really leave the house without of. To start with, something that you'd surprisingly think I would try my best not to forget, and I haven't yet, is the fucking deck I'm playing. Obviously, there are multiple decks across multiple formats that I'm playing, and obviously, it is all different in comparison to what I feel like would be even relevant to most people. Obviously, you guys know what I'm playing for the main event. I'm playing Earth Machine, well, the Chris John Train deck, should I say. It's a lot different than what I normally would play, and obviously, it's a deck that I like. I normally play some level of meta, but I want to have a little bit of fun with a little bit of Rogue, some nice new Zeus sleeves that were provided to me by Yuhin Tang off of the Facebook group. For our other deck that I wanted to bring, but it was more of a begrudging thing just in case something happened, and that is Edison. I decided to bring my version of Hamster Raiko Caius Machina, obviously the same sort of Machina deck I have been rocking for the last however long I have been playing Edison. It's not been that long in all things considered. I'd like to play more, but I find Edison as a format rather boring. Then for this deck box, for me, I don't normally take this many decks with me, but obviously I'm going away for however many days, and obviously I'm going to be wanting to play a lot of card games regardless. In this deck box is another deck that I hold quite close to my heart in all things considered, and that is Mitsurugi. I really liked this deck when I originally had it, and I really wish I could play more of it, or I got to play more of it, but unfortunately I got very bored. But when the Legendary Mod decks came out, I was so excited to re-pick it back up with a new fresh coat of paint. Then for the final deck that I'm realistically going to be taking with me, it's not Yu-Gi-Oh at all, honestly. It's One Piece, and it's the newly released OP16 Ace. I have a couple of friends that are taking One Piece with them, possibly to the event, and I am excited to play more of this deck as a whole. Another thing that goes along with the decks you would normally take is your trade binder, and well, any trades that you have specifically. So in this case, I have a deck box just full of cards that are for other people. So like, I have this Predaplant core that I'm trading to a friend, well, a person that's attending that, alongside a Overframe Kurikara Div Incarnate, and a couple of quid, should I say? Well, it's not a couple of quid, it's quite a lot, for a copy of obviously my Starlight Ethereal and King Regulus. Then there's someone else who's wanting the Durax stuff, and well, I have it, so I'm going to provide it. I've also got a couple of sleeves as well, or a pack of like random arse sleeves, just in case I happen to pull something good out of my entry packs. A binder as a whole is very, very good to have when it comes to just like trying to make friends, have a chat with people, and so much more. Obviously, a lot of my binder stuff is people, it's not the highest end in the world, but it's definitely not the worst. I've definitely seen a lot worse binders in all things considered. Some of these cards are upside down, or in this case, the Chibiya Geometry is sideways, because obviously people either want them or they are on the fence about them. And mostly, I'm going to be taking this to Nats, and I'm going to be doing my deals there with a lot of different people. One of the things that a lot of people feel like they overlook a lot is their playmat. The playmat is like a stomping ground, is their main thing, and as Gage Nenin once said, it is like your way to present yourself as a duelist, alongside a couple of other different things. I do apologize for the flickering of the camera, because it seems to not like the bag all that much. In some instances, I would be also taking some extra cards that are like field centers, some funny jokes, and obviously in the case of this VV leader specifically, I take it pretty much everywhere as like a sentimental token that is always reminds me of my girlfriend, which is a little bit sappy. Obviously it's me, it's for a fucking card game, but I like it nonetheless. It's definitely what has been in my deck box for a long time. I have had many a playmats over the years. Obviously, I've got this nice One Piece Vice Captain's mat. I have my OG Spellground V8. I have a Pyramid Cyber Dragon mat, and so many other mats that, honestly, I've been kind of trying to get rid of them, all things considered. So let me show you a couple of other different things that I feel like it could be worth taking to an event. And obviously, some of them you do have to take. A power bank. A power brick is definitely one of the main things that I feel like it gets overlooked a lot when it comes to just being at an event as a whole. Neuron as an app is a fucking battery eater. It eats a lot of your battery, so you need a way to stay on top of your life points if you're not using a calculator or you're really shit at maths. Something that's really simple is a bottle of water. This water bottle isn't full, but it does have some water in it. But staying hydrated whilst you're playing, especially in the hot summer months like it is currently, well, at least in the UK, it's really all over the place. But that's besides the point. Being hydrated, as well as eating a lot and staying rather awake, should I say, having enough sleep, is definitely something you also need to consider. And the last thing that is really, really stupid, but it definitely has to be considered a lot, and that is a can of deodorant. Obviously, some people smell a lot more than others, and unfortunately, I am one of them. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I sweat a lot, and I can tend to stink. And obviously, this can be omitted by having showers often, and especially having a shower the night or the day of your events, to make sure that you are the cleanest you can and you don't get penalized by a judge for stinking and just overall being an uncomfortable person to play against. So that is the final deck profile. Well, kind of, I would suppose. I know for a fact that I'm probably going to be on and off what deck or what version of the side deck I'm going to be playing, but that's besides the point. But as a whole, that is the final version of the deck, and obviously our little checklist of what we are taking. Obviously, I'm not including everything I'm taking to this event. Obviously, I have a suitcase literally down behind this camera, obviously full of clothes for me to take, because I'm actually going up there for a couple of days as opposed to essentially like one day or what have you. I'm going up there tomorrow with Andrew and Alex, obviously, who you have seen on the channel before, and you'll probably likely see them again over however many videos, as well as just as a whole. We want to try and explore and just enjoy our time there as much as possible. So I'm going to shut the fuck up. I'm probably going to go to bed realistically, and I shall see you guys in the next episode. Well, in the next clip, you fucking moron. So we are here at the Airbnb already. Unfortunately, I did spare you guys the cool fucking montage that I could have probably given you for travelling up to Birmingham. But as you can see outside, the weather's not very nice. It's honestly quite bad, all things considered. It's very cloudy. It's been on and off raining for the entire week, and it's been a little bit shite for the weather. However, by technicality, we are here a day early. Today is Thursday, the 11th of June, and the event technically doesn't start until 2 o'clock tomorrow. Well, the venue doesn't open until 2 o'clock tomorrow. However, I decided in my infinite wisdom, alongside Andrew and Alex, which realistically you'll probably see in the course of this video, and a couple of other friends, it's going to be one of these things where it was probably the best for all of us. And also, I don't have my glasses on. I've left them at home because I'm a fucking moron, but that's besides the point. Today is just going to be a day of chilling, exploring the area, doing some shopping because we need to get food and all that stuff. But tomorrow we are going to actually be going to the venue for about 2 o'clock to go play in some side events, go see the vendors and have a good time overall. So hopefully we should be having a fun time.
Why you?
No! I'm the monkey, man! What the fuck is this shit?
Is it right now?
Thank you. Well, to be fair, it's just...
Now for the main important part.
Yeah. Do you want to go over the menu as well?
To be fair, this is probably like the best starter out of all of it.
Okay, so I would like to assume you agree with me on pretty much all of these choices. So
Violent orange for a second.
Violent orange. Violent orgy. And that is day 0 done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. It is quite late at night, honestly. It's coming up to 2 o'clock in the morning, and we have been testing on and off a couple of different things for us. And honestly, there have been a couple of things that me, Andrew and Alex, who are in the other room next to me, so I have to be a little bit quieter, that we are going to hopefully test out, try and find any of the cards we need from vendors tomorrow at the venue, and hopefully have a good time. We do have a couple of other things in store tomorrow, so I shall see you in the morning. Alrighty then, good morning everybody. It is the 11th or 10th or 12th or whatever day it is I'll probably put it up on the screen. It is earlier in the morning. It's currently about 9:30. Alex and Andrew are still asleep upstairs most likely, and I've just been in the shower because I don't want to be stinky. But that's besides the point. It is the technical day 0 of Nationals, and obviously the venue doesn't open for a long time today. It actually doesn't open until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where people can start grinding the 3v3 side events and a couple of other different things. I believe it's 3v3 constructed pods, like the advanced pods, as well as Genesis, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head. However, today is definitely just not a day of simply just going there, coming back. We're going to explore Birmingham a little bit, because this was one of the things that I didn't actually do last time I was here, because realistically I didn't have the money, and well, I saved up a decent amount for this time around. So we have got 2 places we're going today. Obviously we're going to well, 3 actually, should I say. I can't fucking count. We're going to the NEC, obviously, to go to the venue, go see the vendors, go play some pods and all that. We are also heading up to Griffin's Gaming, which is the other LGS in town, that's, well, in the city, that's known quite far and wide across the country. Got a lot of Yugioh, got a lot of One Piece, and I want to go and have a look at both and hopefully just have a good time there. Also, on the topic of One Piece, there is a Bandai store that I have not been to. Obviously, I've been to the Brighton one, I've been to the Camden one. The only other 2 I haven't been to is the Newcastle one in the Metro Centre and obviously the Birmingham one. So hopefully we're going to have a good time over the course of the rest of the day. So yeah, let's get going. Hello, bonjour. How you sleep? How you sleep? You sleep good? 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 You sleep good?
entire time that we're originally
So I have these two idiots, obviously, with me as we have. Ow! That really hurt. We have finally arrived, and what the fuck? That's not very nice. Hopefully, we're not going to be too much longer. It's not that busy, despite there being too many cosplayers. There are literally too many cosplayers at this point. What's that? No such thing as too many cosplayers? More! We've arrived. We've arrived. There are many people. Many people. They're just still here playing. Righty, so whilst we're waiting, well, whilst Andrew and Alex are sorting out their deck list finally, I'm going back into this place and just all the people. I'm trying to go find some people that I like and love a lot. Alrighty then, we are in the venue. I've got the Centurion Legate shot off of a friend of mine, thanks to George. And we have our entry packs. The field center this time is, I believe, Teller Fairy Tales off the top of my head. I can't remember it. We have our 5 packs of Blazing Dominion, and let's hope we get something good out of it. I'm not normally this good at opening packs because I don't open them very often. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. So we have the Archfiend. I can't read these cards back because I do apologize. The Weaver of Fairy Tale, so just a super, nothing else. Nope. On to the next one. I do apologize if you can hear everything going on because there is a lot going on for sure. So there we go. So we have Fiend Piece Golem, Convex the Boy, Clan Crew New Face, Clan Crew Meteor, and another super. So the Evolved Danae, VIP Whale, Hero Flash. Currently nothing good. We still have 3 more packs left, and hopefully, and there goes my rubbish. Hopefully, it's not going to be too bad for us. So we have the Archfiend Ritual again, Clan Crew Fiends, Fiend Piece Golem, an aircraft thing that I can't read backwards, Super Duper Polymerization, which is a good card, but I got rid of mine, or I'm getting rid of mine for another shiny card that I'm hopefully going to be getting tomorrow morning. And the 4th pack, hopefully it's not going to be too bad for us. I would like to at least pull something good out of it. The Xyz, they're playing Doomsday again, Spiritual Art Familiars, the Archfiend Ritual, Dandalos. Oh, and the Charmed Quartet in Bloom, which is actually quite a good card for us, so that's always very good. Then Veritable Bull, the Link to, another Equip, and a Hero Flash. So one last pack. Hopefully we can pull a Starlight, or at least something good. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? So we have Juprido, the Predaporant Lizard, Clan Crew Meteor, Clan Crew Diablo, and a Darkness Resonator. Unfortunately, nothing too crazy for us right now. However, we are ready for this event, and I am so excited. So hopefully we're going to be doing very, very well for ourselves over the course of the day. Alrighty, one of the things I did buy already is a new hoodie. So a very, very nice Black Rose Dragon hoodie. Probably my favorite sign of dragon in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So we are back from the technical day 0 of Nationals, and obviously you saw what I got in our entry packs. We saw obviously the Fairy Tale Field Center, which I'm not currently using because I have my one from the last Nationals being Minerva, the Lightspawn Angel or thing. I can't remember what the actual name of the monster's called. I decided in my infinite wisdom to obviously have a little bit of fun. I don't get to do this sort of things very often, so I have decided to spend a lot of money. I decided to buy a box of Blazing Dominion, obviously pulling ourselves a Exceptional Schedule and a Solemn Accusation, which the latter of which actually being my 3rd one. My Ultras, obviously it seems to be an Earth Machine box where I pulled another copy of Flying Launcher and a copy of Rocket, and the 2 other Ultras are a copy of Juprido and the Fata Dragna, which I already have. Then for a couple of other cards that I've just been getting over the course of the day because I had made some deals with people, I've got 2 copies of 7th Tachyon that I got from a friend of mine. Probably a holy grail that I was very happy to get from pretty much the guy who I got it from, and that is obviously a overframe copy of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, which I'm going to be playing in the Cyber Dragon deck. Obviously, you know, I got the Charms Quartet in Bloom. Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was actually what the card was called. I got that from my entry packs. Then we got two other cards that I physically have in my hand. I have a Starlight Stamped Cross Sheep. It's probably the highest printing of this card at the moment. And one copy of the QCR copy of Unchained Solar Rage. Obviously, Unchained is a deck I like quite a lot, and I'm so happy that it's getting support. And obviously, it's a lot of fun. There's one more card that I just don't currently have on me, or at least not physically to hand, and that is a copy of QCR Foolish Burial, which I got for a very, very good price. One of the reasons I'm also so happy is that obviously we have finally submitted our deck list, and obviously the deck list that I showed you guys however long ago in this video at this point is pretty much the same. However, one of the things I did change, that I decided to take out Aprilia in the side deck and put the spell canceller in, because realistically, I'm only going to need spell canceller going first, game 2 and game 3 as a whole. Likely to be game 2 and then side out game 3 or what have you. So realistically, our list hasn't changed all that much. Andrew and Alex downstairs are obviously, they've also submitted their deck list. If I can get their deck list, I will put them on the screen right now for you guys. And they are also very happy for their deck list, and they're going to have a lot of fun with me as well. It is actually also Alex's first big event when it comes to just as a whole. He's not played any events that are higher than an OTS, and obviously this is something that's new, and it's honestly kind of overwhelming for him, but he's having so much fun regardless. So we're going to do this one final bit of testing, and hopefully tomorrow morning we shall be up bright and early having breakfast, and we're going to be there very, very early.
Also, what the fuck happened? Why are you showing a fountain and then nothing else? What the fuck happened?
Apparently it wasn't too good for him.
No.
Black Arm Effect?
Well, I'm doing again.
Dump a Fingsmith.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, is day 0 by technicality. Well, yesterday was day 0 for us. Today is day 1. It's very odd. It's day 0 of the actual event, but day 1 for us. And I do apologise if you can hear Alex drying his hair in the background. But obviously, as you've seen in previous clips, we got a lot of good cards. I've spent a stupid amount of money already, and there are a lot of things for us to do. So obviously tomorrow we are going to be up nice and early, and hopefully I'm going to have these 2 idiots make sure that they don't wake up any later than 7, because I want to also make sure that I've got some deals going. Well, I have some deals going, should I say, and obviously I want to make sure that I get these deals done and dusted before the event starts at 9 to around 10 past 9. So it's late, I'm going to get to bed, and I shall see you guys in the morning. So, good morning, everybody. It is the technical day 1 of the event, and, well, it is early in the morning. The 2 other idiots, Andrew and Alex, sorry, are still upstairs, and it is quite early. It is about just gone 7 in the morning, and realistically, I'm up at this time sometimes for work, because obviously I'm in quite early. However, to do a Yu-Gi-Oh event, I've not been up in a long time. Well, at least up early, should I say. Normally, I'm up fairly late because of the way that travel and all that stuff works. But that's besides the point. Today is going to be a good day, but it's going to be a long day. Obviously, there are a couple things that you guys need to know whilst we are kind of here. 1, I'm not going to be recording a lot because I'm going to be playing and just doing all that general sort of thing, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to see what is happening in the event as a whole. 2, most of what you're going to see are little clips here and there of just me talking to people, buying cards from vendors, buying obviously clothes from vendors because of the really cool Black Rose jumper that I brought from, I believe it was Zavi or Civi? I can't remember, I'll have to put it up on the screen for you. And honestly, as a whole, I'm just here to have fun, but I am here to do well at the end of the day. So yeah, let us get into the day. Maturing is realising. Fucking buttered toast. Monster. Not the one I would normally eat, but Monster as a whole. Fucking peak breakfast for days like this. Alex, baby, Shagaman. There's too many people. No, too many people.
2,000 people for Nats, and it's too many people for
Hey, this is autism at its finest. You see, you got a juju on this beat to save the spaceship.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the dream is dead. The dream was dead from what seems to be the very fucking beginning, which is really, really annoying because I felt really confident in the main deck, and even with the last minute change, I felt really confident. It was not meant to be. Apparently, there was something this time around that it just wasn't it. Round 1, loss. Round 2, loss. It was everything in between. It just was not it for me this time around, and I don't know what it was. But I think what I can chalk it up to is the fact that there are more decks in the format that I don't know about. I played against Cool Toon round 2. Round 2? Yeah, I played against Cool Toon round 2, and I have no idea how to play against that deck. It's not something I'm aware of, it's not something I know how to play, and unfortunately it did cost me a lot despite how strong the deck felt. But I'm a little bit in two minds if I want to keep going or if I want to just drop, grind side events, buy cards and all that stuff. But hopefully we're gonna just try our best to enjoy the rest of the day. And annoyingly, the dream's dead. Round 5 was against Doomsy, and I don't know what it's been today. Is that like it just wasn't my event, honestly. Despite how much I put my time into the research, it's not the end of the world. It's not been the best, but hey, we're gonna still be here for a while. We're gonna grind the side events, have a bit of fun, have food because I'm hungry as fuck. But yeah, hopefully we're gonna have a bit of fun for the rest of the day. Alrighty, so it is the technical, knocking cards all over the place. It is the technical final day of the event, and even though technically Andrew, myself and Alex are here for another day, we are obviously still going to go to the event. And unfortunately, yesterday was not good for me. I didn't want to really record anything after that last clip because I got quite disheartened and quite salty because of the way just everything had gone. And I feel as if I didn't give the deck a good enough showing because all my rounds, I lost them. And it was not good for me at all. I do apologise for it tired because I've not been long awake and me without my glasses looks really bad. But that's besides the point. One of the things that I found very quickly was that some of the hands that I drew over the course of the day were fucking shocking. They were really, really bad. And it's the first time I've sat here and been like, oh, these hands are just absurdly awful. And from that point, it seemed to be that there was nothing but bad things. So, round 1, I played against Red Dragon Archfiend, which was not what I expected, especially in the main event. If I was playing Genesis, oh, for sure. But not as round 1 in the main event, but that's besides the point. So my opening hand for the first round of the event, my first hand of Nationals was Double Fua, Selfefnir, Super Express Bullet Train, and a Forbidden Drop Pit. It was not good at all, and I just set one pass, and obviously, for a Dragon Archfiend, when they can pop off, they can do a lot of different things. And it was the same with us in Game 2. It just was not good for us at all. Well, Game 3, sorry. Game 2, we managed to do the full combo, spell canceller and all, but Game 3 was like the weirdest back and forth thing you had ever seen in your life. So we had left round 1 on loss, which is already a really bad omen for what realistically the rest of the event was actually going to be like for me. Round 2 was against Cool Toon, the only deck in the format that I have little to no experience against in comparison to what I have got experience against, which is more specifically Doomsy and Brandon, because obviously Brandon's been around for a while. I know what I've been doing against the deck for a little bit since I clocked it. And Doomsy, Adam the Locals has been playing Doomsy for quite a while up in the lead up to Nats. Game 1, he decides to go first, and my hand is all gas, but it seems to not be gas enough considering the fact that like everything in that deck does everything, and it's not fun when your opponent can pretty much do anything to you when like they just play the game, and I don't think that sort of thing is very good card design for Konami or for a card game in general. So we obviously lost round 2. Round 3 was against Pure Magnets, and this game was really fun. This game was really back and forth, and honestly, I really liked it a lot. But this was when I started to misplay a lot. Like I made the mistake of summoning the Triceros to the center zone, and I had completely fucked it. I would have been able to win from the position if I just summoned it slightly differently. Round 4, so post round 3, Andrew, Alex, and I met up. We're all just fucked. None of us are making day 2, which is really, really sad for us. Alex is enjoying himself, and so is Andrew. But we decided, like, we don't know what we want to do, so we're going to firm the next round and see where we're going. So round 4 was against Doomsy, which obviously, as I just previously said, is a deck that I should know. It's a deck that I should be fairly good against, and I don't know what it was, but I just misplaced to shit every single time, and I don't know what it was. And there was something about this event that made me think it just wasn't it. It just wasn't it for me. It just wasn't it for the deck as a whole. But I can't blame it on just something else. But I can definitely blame it on something that's more specific to me. But I will get on to that in just a little bit. The guy was very nice. Everyone was very nice. This is the main thing. Everyone I had played against over the course of the Saturday morning and afternoon, very nice people, very fun to talk to. And there are so many other players around me that were just doing crazy shits. Like I remember Magnets round 3. There was the guy to my right was playing Gridmarju Inferno Tempest FTK, which was really funny and not something I expected to see in 2026, let alone in a Nationals main event. But one of the things that I seem to consistently do, despite how fine it felt, I continue to misplay a lot. And post round 4, Alex, myself, and Andrew, and one of our other friends, we decided to go get food just to see where our headspace was at. And we all decided that, despite like us coming to the event, we just wasn't gonna make it. It wasn't gonna cut it. Andrew got fucked by time in round 3 or 4. I can't remember which one. And just like, Killer June just seems to be a deck that's just not healthy for a game at all, considering the fact that you can just do everything to every zone ever. It's like the fact that like the top deck manipulation on Q is the one that top decks, manipulates the top deck. It's just the combination of everything that Killer June does is just not fun at all, and it makes it really hard to enjoy a format like this, which is really odd because I normally really enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole, but yesterday was not a showing of that. Yesterday was actually completely opposite. Yesterday was like, oddly enough, everything wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh. So I decided to, after round 5, I decided to drop out of the event and unfortunately just kind of leave it there for now. But I didn't want to stop playing. I wanted to continue my time and hopefully just try and enjoy myself a little bit more, because at this point I'm not gonna lie to you, I was really pissed off. I wasn't having any fun because I'd just gone pretty much 5 in X, so it just wasn't it. So I decided to buy one of the tickets for the Constructed Locals event and do that, and honestly that didn't go much better. So round 1 I played against Christian. I played against the pure Christian deck, and despite my opponent being late, he was playing a weird version, and he seemed to know the deck better than I did, but his game 2 hand was fucking diabolical. It was like the most modern Yu-Gi-Oh hand you could get. More specifically, it was Ash, Bell, Impulse, Imperm, Inclusion. So like 4 hand traps, 1 card starter. So I'm like, oh well, fuck me then. I'll go fuck myself, I guess. Round 2 of that side of them, I played against Sky Striker. The guy hadn't been playing all too long, and he was really enjoying himself. He was there just to figure out what like a big event was like and hopefully just have a bit more fun. And honestly, it was a lot of fun playing against him, but despite him playing Sky Striker, which should be a fucking free matchup for me in any way, shape or form, I just fumbled it. I fumbled it in so many different ways, and it's like, oh, okay, at this point, I think I'm done for the day. But I decided to firm the final round of the three-round constructed event, which was against Yummy. And after like my turn 1 misplays and all that stuff, the guy managed to OTK me. And at this point, I was done. I just had enough. I was hungry. I was tired over anything else. And I just like, I needed to get out of there, so I decided to give my opponent the match win as a whole. and just drop out and leave it at that. So yeah, it was not good for me. It honestly wasn't good, and I'm still reeling on it now, all things considered. I won't lie to you. It's such a polarizing experience, especially for me, as I've spent so much time when it comes to the research part of it. I think I didn't really have enough time with the decks themselves. So more specifically against Doomsy and Killer Tune. Killer Tune is not a deck I see at Mayhem all that often. It's actually a deck I haven't seen because there's only one person that plays it, and that said person only goes on the Saturday locals, which half the time I can't go to because I'm working. And the only other deck that I could feasibly see myself playing against, which, excuse me, I did play against a couple of times here and there, was Doomsy. And I felt fairly free on Doomsy, to be all things considered. But, excuse me, it just wasn't it for me. And I think my lacking of knowledge on this event, it was just probably my biggest downfall, especially when it comes to Killer Tune as a deck. It was definitely my downfall for sure, and I can only blame myself for it. However, time was not kind in the sense of my work schedule and money and all that stuff. It was definitely not something I was really helped by, but I'm not really gonna force it on that, especially when it comes to just trying to continue to play the game. But hopefully next time, whatever next event me, Andrew and Alex or the Protect and Collect lot go to, it will be better. And I really do hope it. It's not like I've not enjoyed myself over the course of the weekend, because I have. It's always an experience to go to nationals. Andrew and I and Alex as well, we need to get a picture to essentially commemorate the event. Hello, look at his sexy mane. Hello.
Hello.
Are you asleep?
Ah.
Sweet suffering son.
With the green M&M.
Why are you having
The
sex
green
with...
M&M.
What the fuck are you doing, man? Hurry up.
No,
Hurry up.
no.
To be fair, you don't actually have to hurry up. I don't know how long the Uber's taking. It's probably not that long.
I said right now.
So, that is the event done. I do apologise that I didn't exactly record a lot over the course of the day. Honestly, in regards to what I said in my previous clip about how I felt over the course of yesterday, I personally felt that I wanted to actually sit down and try and enjoy the event as much as I can without trying to make it about recording and all that stuff. And as much as I wanted to record a lot of the stuff, I didn't really get up to much, all things considered. That could be quite interesting. In all honesty, I spent a lot of the time just playing games, having fun, doing trades, buying cards. It's one of these things where I feel like after an event like yesterday where I didn't do as well as I would have liked to, it did dishearten me, as I had said in my previous clip. However, I do feel as if you still kind of have to go and kind of see the rest of it through. And honestly, I won't complain. I got a lot of good cards out of it when it comes to trading a mix of One Piece, well, not One Piece for me specifically, that was more for Andrew and Alex, a mix of Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece, and just overall a lot of finals to be had. A lot of people there were just really nice, and everyone was just nice to be around. I played in one of the Edison events. I played a couple of games with Edison, which I don't normally play that much, but sometimes it is a fresh coat of paint. And I picked up a shit ton more cards, which you guys will likely see a proper list of what I got when I go home tomorrow with Andrew and Alex. That being said, though, I did enjoy myself. At the end of the day, I feel like there is something to think about when you're doing an event like this. You can't really let it get to you that you didn't do as well as you would like. I'm going to be thinking about it a lot. I'm going to be thinking of the definition of what if. However, I feel as if that there's a lot of different things to think about, and obviously I've kind of given my brief thoughts on what I feel is better, or what I feel like back about the event, earlier this morning as I was having breakfast, especially after how bad I did in comparison to what I feel like I was going to do. But at the end of the day, this is a hobby. It is a card game, and sometimes you can have just it's just not your event. You just kind of have to live with it, and I'm gonna be annoyed with myself about it, obviously, like most people are, because, well, when you put a lot of time into something and it doesn't go the way you think it will, it does dishearten you quite a lot. And obviously, I've spoken to Andrew, I've spoken to Alex, I've spoken to a lot of people in the Train Connection Discord who have been helping me with this Christian list, and it did dishearten me quite a lot. However, something to take into consideration was that there were other people at the event playing the deck. In one of the side events, I played against Crystron, which the guy was very happy to play the mirror, and so was I. One of the train FTKs got into day 2, and I believe got 37th. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it up on the screen, whatever his placement was. And there was a Crystron Trains deck on the feature match, which is always very fun to see. Unfortunately, he didn't do that well either. But that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. Our representation of a deck that you love so much is always nice to see. And I think that's also like a way to flip it on its head to a degree. I have to flip that sort of thing on its head as well, as that I feel like I didn't give the deck the showing it deserves, because it's got a lot of potential, but it's definitely something I feel like when it comes to learning it, there was a lot of problems with it that I missed. Like, there are a lot of cards I also missed as well. So, for example, I missed cards like Cyber Dragon Infinity a lot. I missed them. There were a lot of cards where I was like, oh, I have two spare 5s on the board, or I'll wait to get 2 spare 5s. Another Omni Negate is surely better. I seem to draw Triceros and Citri quite a lot, which is kind of bad, especially when you're trying to like put them in the grave, or in the case of Citri specifically, keep it in the deck for the Quarian Ganjax play. And there were a couple times I did miss cards like Machina Edsel and Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. At the end of the day, this is what this sort of thing is about, just trying to be better as a whole. And that's hopefully going to be what I'm doing next. But for now, I'm going to just take a little bit of a step back. Have a little bit more fun with the other card games. OP16 for One Piece has just come and gone. And obviously, as I said in the previous clip, I'm likely to be playing a lot of Red Ace. And I am so excited to be just making content on One Piece again now that the game is, in my opinion, a little bit more my speed, a little bit more fair, and especially after OP15 being a fucking shit show. But that's besides the point. Now, I'm going to go out that door specifically, and just enjoy the rest of my evening with Andrew and Alex, because we've got a lot of food to eat, alcohol to drink, and just essentially enjoy the rest of our evening and enjoy the rest of our time away. All that's packed. All the stuff, all my clothes, all the dirty clothes, all in there. Bed, relatively made. I say relatively very loosely because everything to make it properly. Technically, my hairbrush is over there, but it doesn't really matter to me because I need to brush my hair anyway. Because if you can tell, I look like shit. Alrighty, everything is done. We are now going to make sure we have done everything. Well, we've made sure we've done everything. We've left. Now we're just going to get our shoes on, call the Uber, and fuck off. Those toilets. Mad. Toilet. Escalators. More escalators. And we are finally home. Well, I've been home for... Oh, excuse me. I've been home for quite a while, actually. However, I've finally managed to sit down and just... Oh, excuse me, Jesus Christ. Enjoy myself a little bit, like enjoy my time home, say hello to my mum, say hello to my dog, my sister who's just come home from work. It's been nice to see them, all things considered, but obviously some things are like still on my mind. More specifically about how the event went and what I could have done better as a whole. And I did talk about this briefly, so I'm not going to go on it too long. However, I want to talk about more specifically my side deck. I feel like my side deck for this event was not well equipped. It was not equipped well at all to figure out what I wanted out of the event, in addition to just as a whole, it just wasn't a good side. It felt fine at the time I had made it, but it definitely was not my favorite thing in the world. There was only a couple of cards that came up, and said a couple of cards were not my favorite things in the world, and unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way it is. And I feel like at some point I'm likely to go back to this deck and just figure out what I want from it. And honestly, it's probably not going to be that long until I start playing this deck again, but I think for now I do want a change up of some description. So what we're going to be doing from now on, One Piece has been getting a lot better, more specifically when it comes to with the release of obviously this Luffy and Ace and a couple of cards, well, and OP16 as a whole. I'm going to be focusing on that a little bit more, trying to get a lot better at it, and just overall trying to enjoy my time a little bit more with the other card game. I'm still going to be playing Yugioh, but I'm going to be playing a different deck that is probably more meta. Actually, it's a lot more meta, should I say, but it's definitely something that I'm very interested in as a whole. So I'm going to quickly show you what deck it is going to be, and I'm also going to show you some of the spoils I got from Nats. So to go over my haul from Nationals and some places after, we're going to start with the thing that you get when you actually compete in the event, and that is a field center alongside your packs. This time around, it was the Teller of Fairy Tales from the latest set, and honestly, it's one of these things where I'm like, oh, I actually like how these look a lot, and honestly, I don't mind collecting field centers from events because that's just how they were. I have another my main field center that I use at locals is actually the field center from the 2024 Nationals, which is, I believe, the Minerva Synchro. I actually can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And again, onto the deck I decided to pick up for post-Nationals Shenanigans is Pure Power Patron. I am an advocate for decks that are very unique, and Power Patron is one of them. I absolutely adore the concept of a pendulum deck being good again, and I think that sort of stuff is a lot of fun. It normally, from what I can tell, it likes to use its scales to pop each other to go search for the other Power Patrons. It revolves around essentially summoning them from the extra deck and what have you, and revolving around Medius, as obviously they are his Power Patrons. That's kind of the point. Using unfortunate floodgates like Amalphage Sloth, Amalphage Goliath, and Amalphage Lechery to stop your opponent from playing the game. And obviously you have the 3 copies of Terminus. Technically, the 3 copies of the Vidolia, which you only play 1 to my knowledge, but I picked up 3 just to have. Then, obviously, the Archmage Counterstrap to go alongside the Archmage Nonfinito, the Nerva, the Power Patron of Creation, the Jupiter Power Patron of Destruction, and a Charmer's Quartet in Bloom. I am aware that there are a couple of things of note that I am missing. Obviously, I'm missing the 3 Novedo, another copy of Medius, as well as the Junolo, the Synchro Power Patron that you normally play in Elf Note. But that will be something I get through just trading with others and making sure that we have everything we need for this deck to work as it should. And unfortunately, the Amalphage stuff and the Mediuses specifically are very, very expensive, and it does annoy me. But that's not bad. So let's go on to some of the rarity bumps. I went into this event wanting to get high rarity stuff for my Earth Machine deck and just for the Machine deck as a whole. And honestly, I came out with what I originally was going in for. So obviously, we got our copies of Crystron Elder Skeletor. So obviously, I originally only had commons. I picked up a super just before the main event started. And obviously, another thing I did pick up before the main event started is the Starlight Therion King Regulars. And I'm so happy to have my boy back in the shine that he deserves. We then got a QCL Foolish Burial and 2 copies of Starlight Urgent Schedule. Some cheap Starlights that look really, really nice to me, all things considered. And probably some of my favourite pickups over the course of the weekend, my Overframes. I got an Overframe Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, and Overframe Chaos Angel, and probably my most nostalgic one, an Overframe Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. I like all of these a lot, and I personally think that Chaos Angel is my favourite. If I ever get a chance to use any of these cards, more specifically probably the Chaos Angel and the White Woman, I'm definitely going to use my Overframes over anything else. Then I decided to pick up some old format stuff that obviously, you know me, I like to play some old formats every now and again. We picked up some QCR fire hands. They didn't actually have any QCR ice hands. If they did, I would have picked them up in a hobby. Finally, a copy of Soul of Silver Mountain to go into Yugioh, which is Spanish and I haven't been able to find one for, and a really cheap QCR, actually, a copy of Charge of the Light Brigade, which is probably one of the best cards in Edison, bar none. Then some other general little bits that I picked up over the course of the event. We picked up 3 copies of Castera Rise Heart to essentially just finish out my core of what I needed. Alex has stolen my fucking Fiendsmith engraver, so I have to go find another engraver, but that's not the end of the world. We have our 2 copies of Kurikara to essentially just replace the overframe that I was going to get 3 of. We then have our 3 copies of 7th Tachyon, which I'm so happy got a reprint because I've been needing this card for a while. Another overframe that I didn't actually mention as I was talking about the other one is Overframe Super Poly. This is definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite outside of Chaos Angel. Then for the final spell, we have a QCR copy of Dark Waller No More, and for the only trap, a singular copy of Dominus Spiral, which is definitely something I wanted to pick up. Then for the extra deck stuff that I picked up from this event, we got a copy of Ultimate Rare Silla Hat Rabbit, a QCR Starlight Topologic Blast Star Dragon, a QCR Unchained Soul of Rage in time for the support, a Starlight Stamped Cross Sheep, a QCR Nightmare Phoenix, a Seamos of Theseus that I actually did use in the side events when I was playing Mitsurugi, a second copy of a QCR Pleiades, a copy of DD Marksman Kingtail, my own copy of Centurion Legatia. I need to give George back his when I next see him, and a Cool Tune Crackle when I got, that I got out of some packs. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was not the only card game I picked up a lot of cards for when it comes to being somewhere that I'm not normally used to being. One of the things I actually did do with Andrew and Alex whilst I was away in Birmingham was actually visit their Bandai store in Birmingham City Centre, which I managed to pick up my copy of the Luffy and Ace starter deck, which I wanted to try and pick up too whilst I was there, because obviously you need to for most structure decks to work out, but it was limited to 1 per person to save on scalping and bollocks. Luckily enough, my pulls from it weren't too bad. We actually managed to get the Crocodile, the Galdino, which both of these are actually played in the decks, and both of them are actually played in other decks, and our Jinbei. The Jinbei isn't the best thing, but definitely not the worst when it comes to that sort of thing. More like the individual cards that I got off of a majority of people, obviously Andrew and a couple of others, I got a copy of Jinbei that I needed for my Warlords Jinbei deck if I do decide to play it. My only missing copy of 9-cost Shanks, because for some reason, I don't know where my 4th copy's gone. I brought 2 structure decks. I don't know where the fuck they went. We have our 4 copies of Cavendish, which I actually got rid of my Cavendishes fairly recently when I decided to sell up for Lucy. But I'm deciding to rebuild Ace as I used to play on the channel, and unfortunately Ace needs a Cavendish, and I'm moving my mat fucking everywhere. Jesus Christ. Then I picked up 3 copies of Ace, Sabo, and Luffy. I don't know where these are going to quite go yet. I think they're going to go in Shanks when I do decide to properly build it out. Then for more Ace cards, we have 3 copies of ST22 Ezo. Obviously, I personally feel like that this card doesn't get played a lot in Red Blue Ace now, thanks to the release of Moby Dick from OP16, but it's still something nice to have for us to play with. Then for some other cards that I wanted to try for the Ace deck, more specifically the Mono Red Ace deck, was 3 copies of the 3-drop Sanji Inami's Body from OP10. This is one of these very interesting cards that you can pick up for the Ace deck, because one of the things you can do with it is if you have a way to give 2 Rested Don to it, essentially it just becomes an 8k swing that you can have by turn 3, and I think that sort of thing is very interesting. Then for some of the more bulk cards that I managed to pick up, we picked up 4 copies of Monkey D. Garb that are going to go into the Ace deck, 4 copies of Otama because it's just a good 2k, and to my knowledge I don't have any. I'm likely to probably have some because I opened a lot of OP13. 1 copy of Vistar, obviously for the Ace deck as well. Then onto some more new cards. Well, actually I might as well just go back to the Ace deck. Then on for 4 copies of the 4-drop 6k Marco. for some of the newer stuff, we have a copy of Kinemon for the new Black Yamato deck. And speaking of Yamato still, I finally got my final copy of Nami and a copy of the unblockable Luffy for the deck. I don't know if I'm going to play the Luffy, but I definitely want to at least consider it. And for the final card that I picked up over the course of the event is the double Don, or the double pack Don, which is the Impel Down, Mr. Galdino, and Magellan Don. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the series. It has been a very fun event, a very fun lead up, and honestly, I've been loving making these videos for you once a week, or in some cases once every 2 weeks because of research or life, but that's besides the point. To all those I met at UK Nationals, from the Train Connection Discord to those I met on Facebook to do deals with, you have all been absolutely lovely, and I have had nothing but good times and nothing but good things to say about everyone I met, everyone I played, and obviously Konami as a whole did a very good event with this job, other than a few small hiccups. That is going to be all from me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I enjoyed making it, and hopefully next time we will do a lot better. And, well, at the end of the day, we're all here to have fun and play card games. If you guys enjoyed this series as much as I enjoyed making it, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below to find out, or to tell me about anything you enjoyed about the series, enjoyed about my content as a whole, and anything you thought was interesting. Please keep it civil because we are all adults here. Have a good one, stay safe, I shall catch you guys in the next one. Catch you later.